On Doomsday, my husband Tremaine sued me for divorce, accusing me of being a failed mother and wife. He even demanded all the properties and custody of my daughter. However, inside the courtroom, I heard a shocking sentence. It was the voice of my 7-year-old daughter, Zariah, asking the judge, "Your Honor, can I show you something my mommy doesn't know?" The judge nodded his head. My daughter stepped forward, raised her tablet, and pressed the play button. When the video started, everyone in the room froze in stunned silence. Before the story begins, please leave us a comment telling us which state or city you are watching from. Do not forget to like and subscribe so this channel can grow and bring you more exciting stories. That morning began like any other in their home. Nyala, dressed in simple clothes, had been toiling in the kitchen since dawn. The faint aroma of a hot breakfast mixed with the scent of detergent from the washing machine spinning in the laundry nook. Nyala moved quickly but silently, making almost no noise. Over the years, she had learned to move like a shadow in her own home, an effort not to disturb the peace of her husband, Tremaine. At 6 a.m, Tremaine came down from the second floor. He looked immaculate. As soon as he appeared in his freshly pressed shirt, Nyala immediately placed a mug of hot, black coffee and a steaming breakfast plate on the table. Tremaine sat down and took the mug without even looking at her. "The coffee is a little bitter today," Tremaine said dryly, his eyes fixed on his cell phone screen. "I'm sorry, honey. I thought I measured it right this time," Nyala replied in a low voice. Tremaine did not respond. He simply pushed the breakfast away from his plate and ate a few spoonfuls in silence. Nyala stood near the table, awkwardly waiting for any other order. There were none. The silence between them was so dense and cold that it seemed to freeze the hot steam rising from the coffee on the table. Nyala had forgotten the last time they shared a breakfast filled with laughter. It was probably 2 or 3 years ago when Tremaine started working late and his business trips became longer. "Is Zariah up?" Tremaine asked without lifting his face. "Yes, honey, she is showering. She will be down for breakfast soon," Nyala said. Sure enough, shortly after, the small sound of footsteps came down the stairs. Zariah, their 7-year-old daughter, ran toward them in her neat private school uniform. Her smile was bright, a stark contrast to the atmosphere of the morning. "Good morning, Mommy and Daddy." Zariah kissed Nyala on the cheek and headed toward Tremaine. He finally put down the phone and forced a slight smile toward his daughter. "Good morning, Princess. Finish your food. Daddy will take you to school." "Wow, I'm going with Daddy," Zariah exclaimed with joy. Nyala exhaled a sigh of relief. At least in front of Zariah, Tremaine made an effort to act with warmth. This brief breakfast hour was the only family time they had. As soon as Zariah finished eating, Tremaine stood up immediately, grabbed his briefcase, kissed Zariah on the forehead, and headed to the front door. As always, he walked past Nyala as if she were not there. Not a goodbye, not a kiss, not even a glance. Only the roar of his luxury car driving away left Nyala alone in the vastness of her large house. Nyala spent the rest of the morning with her routine, clearing the table, washing the dishes, doing the laundry, and tidying the rooms. She did it all with efficiency. She always strove to keep the house perfect. She thought that if the house was clean enough, if the food was delicious enough, if she was quiet enough, maybe the old Tremaine would return. But the old Tremaine seemed to have left a long time ago. At noon, Nyala went to pick Zariah up from school. This was her favorite time of the day. She loved listening to Zariah chatter about her friends, her art class, or her lunchbox. "Mommy, today I got 5 gold stars from the teacher. I answered the question right," Zariah chirped happily, holding her mother's hand. "Wow, my daughter is so smart," Nyala congratulated sincerely, pinching her little nose. When they arrived home, while Nyala was helping Zariah take off her shoes, she heard the sound of a motorcycle pulling up in front of the main door. A uniformed courier shouted her name. "Nyala, a package for you!" Nyala frowned. She had not ordered anything. She walked to the front door and received a large, thick brown envelope. There was no sender name, only the logo of a law firm in the upper right corner. Nyala's heart began to beat uncomfortably. "Who is it, Mommy?" asked Zariah, who had followed her. "I don't know, Princess. It's probably just junk mail. Go change and then we'll have lunch," Nyala said, trying to keep her voice steady. After Zariah ran to her room, Nyala sat on the sofa in the living room. Her hands trembled slightly as she ripped open the envelope. Inside was a thick stack of papers. The first sentence on the top page made Nyala gasp for air. Petition for dissolution of marriage. Nyala's world seemed to stop. Her ears were ringing. She reread the words, hoping her eyes had deceived her. Plaintiff, Tremaine. Defendant, Nyala. Reason for the suit. The wife has totally failed in the fulfillment of her marital duties. Nyala felt nauseous. Failed. She had dedicated her entire life to this house. She had given up her career at Tremaine's request. She had taken care of Zariah. She made sure Tremaine's shirts were spotless every morning. What did he mean by failed? She continued reading the following chapters. Her eyes went out of focus at the demands Tremaine was presenting. The demands were cruel. Tremaine was not only asking for a divorce, but he was also requesting full custody of Zariah, alleging that Nyala was emotionally unstable and incapable of raising the child properly. And most devastating of all, he demanded the totality of the marital assets, including the house they lived in, with the argument that Nyala had not contributed financially and that all assets were solely the result of Tremaine's efforts. Nyala collapsed weakly onto the cold hardwood floor, the papers scattered around her. So that was why Tremaine had been so cold for months. This had been a plan hatched in secret behind her back. The front door opened. Tremaine had returned from work unusually early. He stood in the doorway looking at Nyala slumped on the floor and then at the scattered papers. His expression was cold and without a shred of guilt. "Honey, what does this mean?" Nyala's voice trembled, and tears began to well up. Tremaine took off his shoes in silence. He walked over, loosening his tie. He did not deny it or explain. He simply said coldly, "It is exactly what you read. I don't want to live with you anymore, Nyala. You have failed. You have failed as a wife and as a mother." "Failed?" Nyala moaned in disbelief. "I have taken care of this house and raised Zariah." "Taken care of the house?" Tremaine scoffed with disdain. "The only thing you have done is spend my money. Zariah needs a better mother, a competent one, not someone who only knows how to cry and complain like you. But all the property, this house, and Zariah, honey, you can't take them from me." Nyala began to scream hysterically. Tremaine crouched down and looked at her with a sharp look filled with hatred that Nyala had never seen before. "I can and I will. My lawyer has all the evidence gathered. You won't get anything, Nyala. You will leave this house without a single dollar." Tremaine stood up and smoothed his suit. He looked toward the stairs, making sure Zariah couldn't hear. "And get ready." Tremaine grinned a chilling smile that froze Nyala's blood. "My lawyer says that even your own daughter will testify in court about how incompetent you are as a mother." Nyala froze in terror, and her heart shattered into pieces. Tremaine not only wanted to divorce her, but he wanted to destroy her completely. Nyala did not sleep that night. After the cruel confrontation, Tremaine had retired to the guest room and locked the door, as if Nyala were a threat. Nyala spent the night in her daughter's room, sitting in the chair by the bed, watching Zariah's peaceful face as she slept. Her tears did not stop falling. How could Tremaine say that Zariah would testify against her? Zariah was everything to her. What would they have told her little girl? That thought tormented her more than any other accusation. The next morning, Tremaine acted as if nothing had happened. He woke Zariah up, prepared her uniform, and took her to school. He did not speak a word to Nyala. When Zariah asked why her mother had puffy eyes, Tremaine answered with indifference. "Mommy isn't feeling very well, Princess." After they left, true terror took hold of Nyala. She had to fight. She couldn't give up on Zariah so easily. She grabbed her phone and looked for the names of renowned divorce lawyers in the city. But the harsh reality hit her soon. Lawyers needed money, a retainer, a consultation fee. Niala realized she had no money. For all these years, Tremaine had only given her a monthly allowance, budgeted exactly for groceries and Zariah's school expenses. There was no room to save anything. Her only hope was their joint account, the one she believed was their family emergency fund. With trembling hands, Niala opened the banking app on her phone. She entered the password with her heart hammering. When the balance appeared on the screen, Niala felt her legs fail. 0. The account was at $0. It couldn't be. There should be hundreds of thousands of dollars in there. Niala refreshed repeatedly, hoping for a system error, but the number 0 stared back at her. She opened the transaction history, and her eyes widened with horror. Over the last 6 months, Tremaine had been systematically withdrawing large amounts of money, transferring them to another account Niala didn't know. The last withdrawal had been made just 3 days ago, emptying the rest of the account. Tremaine had planned this. He wasn't just leaving. He had deliberately crippled her financially so she couldn't fight back. Niala cried in despair. How was she going to hire a lawyer without a single dollar? She remembered her wedding jewelry. She ran to her room and opened her jewelry box. It was empty. Only a few imitation trinkets remained. Tremaine had taken even her heirlooms. In her desperation, Niala remembered an old friend who worked at a legal aid agency. She called her and told her the situation between sobs. Her friend felt pity but couldn't do much, except give her a name. "His name is Attorney Abernathy," her friend said. "He has a small office on the 2nd floor of an old strip mall. He isn't an expensive lawyer, but he is honest and dedicated. Go see him. Explain your situation. Maybe he can help you." Niala had no other choice. With the little cash she had left in her purse, she hailed a cab and went to the address her friend gave her. Attorney Abernathy's office was exactly as her friend had described, small, modest, and located on the 2nd floor of an old building with peeling paint. Attorney Abernathy was a middle-aged black man with thick glasses and a calm demeanor. He listened patiently to Niala's story without interrupting, only nodding occasionally and taking notes. When Niala finished, Attorney Abernathy exhaled a long sigh. "Niala, this is going to be an uphill battle," he said in a low voice. "Your husband has prepared all of this very thoroughly. He doesn't just want a divorce. He wants to destroy you." "I know, attorney, but I don't care about the properties. I just want Zariah. Please help me. I don't have money now, but I will pay you. I will pay you in installments. I will do anything," Niala pleaded desperately. Attorney Abernathy looked at her for a moment. "Let's leave the money issue for later, Niala. What is important now is that we have to move fast. This lawsuit has already been filed. We have to prepare a response immediately." Attorney Abernathy asked Niala to wait. He left the room and returned a few minutes later with a folder full of photocopies. They were the lawsuit documents filed by Tremaine's side. "Your husband's lawyer is Attorney Cromwell. He is known for being sharp and not hesitating to use dirty tactics," Attorney Abernathy said firmly. "Let's see what evidence they have presented." Niala nodded. Her heart was beating hard. Attorney Abernathy opened the folder. The first page was photographs. Niala went into shock seeing photos of the interior of her house, photos of dirty dishes piled in the kitchen, photos of the living room cluttered with toys, photos of dirty clothes piled in the laundry basket. "But this is unfair," Niala protested. "These are photos he took when I was sick. I had a high fever for 3 days, and Tremaine didn't want to help at all. He took them on purpose." "Niala, I'm afraid this is manipulated to make it look like you are a lazy person who doesn't maintain the house," Attorney Abernathy said with a bitter expression. They turned to the following pages. They were credit card statements. Niala saw a list of charges for luxury handbags, jewelry, and dinners at expensive restaurants she had never bought. "That's not me. I didn't buy these things." "Was it an additional card in your name?" asked Attorney Abernathy. "Yes, an additional one. Tremaine managed it. He told me to use it if I needed to, but he took it often, saying his main card had exceeded the limit. Oh my God, he set me up. Nyala felt the world spinning. She realized that every small kindness from Tremaine was actually part of his evil plan. And then